Meanwhile, a potential breakthrough in the debt ceiling standoff is being treated with skepticism by Democrats after closed-door negotiations. House Republicans on Friday announced a plan to extend the debt ceiling deadline until mid-April.
We will extend the debt limit until the timeline where you have a budget, a roadmap. So you stop digging yourself in the hole that we get out of this problem. Part of not having the budget has gotten us into this problem in the first place. 2.
Now, of course, at stake here, the credibility of the U.S. economy. The United States could default on the national debt if Congress does not agree to increase the borrowing limit. Joining me now, Shira Toeplitz, political staff writer, rollcall.com, Ari Shapiro, White House correspondent for NPR. Good Saturday to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Shira, we're going to start with you here. This new plan, it pushes the threat of default until mid-April, contingent on, as Congressman McCarthy just mentioned there, contingent on the fact that the House and Senate will have to both pass budgets. That hasn't happened in some time. Congressional salaries also on the line. Is this a viable strategy?
I think it's an interesting strategy. If you're a Senate Democratic staffer and you just watched House Republican leaders come out of the retreat and this is the plan, you're sitting there scratching your head being like, wait, was it really this easy? I mean, what just happened here? In any case, I think what this does is it sets up a much greater battle in a few months. And what House Republicans are doing here is they are betting that they're going to have a little bit more political capital on their side in a few months after we get through the sequestration battle and a couple other legislative things going on Capitol Hill.
On the surface, it does seem like a win for Democrats. Sorry, this is what Senate Majority Leader, this is what Harry Reid said. I want to take a listen, and we'll talk about it on the other side. Here it is. It is reassuring to see Republicans beginning to back off their threat to hold our economy hostage. That's Senate Leader Harry Reid there. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi rejecting the plan. Did Republicans make a real effort here, or is this a gimmick, as Nancy Pelosi said?
The most important thing for Republicans is that they are reordering the 3 fiscal conflicts that the country has ahead. These 3 conflicts are the sequestration, the deep cuts to domestic and military spending, the end of the funding of the government that could result in a government shutdown, and then the debt ceiling fight. And the debt ceiling fight has potentially the worst consequences for the country's economy. And so Republicans thought, instead of taking the debt ceiling fight first and potentially doing some real harm, let's move it to the end of this list of 3 standoffs.
And sequestration, of course, also a major issue. Do Republicans think they can win on major cuts to domestic and military spending?
Probably not. I don't think they have a lot of betting power here at all. I mean, the debt ceiling was their biggest bargaining chip that they had, and they just moved it to basically a totally different battle, which will be over the budget and spending in a few months.
You're seeing an emerging consensus from Republicans, both from op-ed writers and from members of Congress, that you can't control the direction of the entire government if you only control one house of Congress. So I think they're setting their sights a little lower, seeing the hits that they took in 2011 over the debt ceiling fight, over the fiscal cliff battle, and trying to reorganize their strategy here.
Was there some polling conducted, or was there something else that acted as an impetus? Was there some sort of epiphany in Williamsburg?
In Williamsburg, their own Republican pollsters presented them numbers showing that I mean, headlights are more popular right now than Republicans in Congress. That's actually true.
But you don't need a pollster to tell them what has happened in the last couple of months with their reputation and just the divisiveness among the caucus that's been very well publicized.
The White House has responded to this proposal by calling it, quote, a terrible way to run the country. The president has a hardline stance of not negotiating on the debt ceiling. Do we think that the White House takes this deal, or do we think that the White House pushes back and says, no, we don't want 3 months. We want, 6 months. We want a year. What do you think the White House response is going to be?
I'd actually look to see what's going to come out of the Senate instead, see how they're going to react to what the House has put forward and what actually happens next week with the votes, and see how many House Democrats vote against it when it comes to the floor. That's what I would look for next.
They don't want a 3-month deal. They want a 1-year or more deal. But if they get a 3-month deal, it would not surprise me at all if the president signs it.
They'll take it. Shira Toeplitz, roll call. Ari Shapiro from NPR. Good to have you guys in the flesh. Usually it's just in boxes, so it's good to actually have you here. See your faces, look in your eyes.
Thank you.
Up next, while